Good morning, people. How we doing today? It is August 28th. We've got one more trading day in August, right? And then September rolls around, or sorry, two more. What am I talking about? Three, including today. So I'm wrong from the get-go. So we have today, tomorrow, and Friday to wrap up August trading days. So three more days for the end of the month. And what an interesting slash difficult month it has been. I find that the most recent sideways movement has been a little overdone, but it's a little healthier here. Generally, when we have these like sideways movements after a rally to the upside, we have a little more continuation to the upside. So the main thing that everyone has eyes on today happens after the bell. It's Nvidia earnings. It seems like everyone's just waiting for Nvidia earnings, the big market mover, the most important earnings ever. So if history is any guide, right, there's going to be some big moves after the bell. Options are pricing in about an average of, the average over the past 12 quarters in Nvidia has been about 8% movement of the stock in itself, which currently equates to about 250 to 300 billion dollars in market cap value change. The current options market is pricing in a move of about 8% as well. So if we stay stagnant, right, an 8% move to the upside happens to be around 139, right, on Nvidia. An 8% move to the downside, keeping things as is, assuming, right, we have about 118 to the downside. So pretty substantial moves here are expected on Nvidia. It's scheduled to report today after the bell. Very, very drastic change in market cap can transpire. So Q2 earnings per share and revenues are expected to come in at 64 cents, which is a 138% increase, and 28.7 billion for revenue, which is a 113% increase respectively. So doubling from the levels that have been last seen about a year ago. It's even more impressive with margins in the mid 70% range despite pressure from recent capacity expansions. Most importantly, investors are going to want to hear more impressive guidance. Everything's about guidance. So along with the product roadmap that it will take to achieve those figures, and keep an eye on the commentary that surrounds the next gen Blackwell chip and potential delays as the current Hopper sales, especially the new H200 GPU. So demand is likely to stay intact throughout 2025, with many companies warning of greater risks of underinvestment in AI rather than overspending. But there could be also some pressure given sky-high expectations. Now, keep in mind, NVIDIA is up 159% in 2024 alone, accounting for around a quarter of the S&P's year-to-date 18% returns, which means that a lot is riding on the results of just one company. So it's been the AI story, right? The Mag 7 story, the overall market story, and even the US growth story. So far, so good with the signals we see from TSMC and SMCI's most recent earnings report. This is what Foxconn commentary says, right? And Blackwell is on its way. The GB200s are going to crush expectations in 2026, apparently. We are getting the green light from suppliers that the delay is immaterial at this time. Demand, big tech, capex remain fairly high, and let's be real, nothing can stop what's coming. So, very positive outlooks from the overall analysts that are guiding, right, and watching for these Nvidia earnings. Only time will tell. I don't want to speculate into this, or maybe I do. Maybe I throw some options at it. But overall, a very large move is expected in Nvidia. I personally don't think that we're going to see a cataclysmic drop from it. I think we flatline or see a little increase. I don't know. I don't think we see much of an expansion either way. I could be very wrong. But we're at a point right now where markets have stagnated very close to their all-time highs, and this is going to be a very big catalyst to make that expansive move, either up or down, that a lot of people, a lot of analysts are going to have their eyes on, which could mean that trading volume and movement throughout this day on an intraday basis can be a little lighter and tighter. Another aspect, right, of news, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is inching ever so close to joining that $1 trillion club. Its market cap closed on Tuesday at $993 billion, Berkshire's shares have gained 29.2% this year and are up 7.5% since the last earnings report. If it hits a value of $1 trillion, that would make it the eighth US company to ever reach the milestone and the ninth globally. So we can see that we'll watch what happens with Berkshire as well, but on the longer term, it seems like a very viable stock, right? Trust in Warren. So in terms of other news, we don't have necessarily too much. The main my neck. The main thing that we're expecting is going to be Nvda earnings today after the bell, but we have some EIA petroleum status reports 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We have the survey of business uncertainty. We have results of the 28 billion 2-year FRN auction. We've got a 5-year note auction, right? Some treasury stuff into the afternoon, but nothing too crazy that would undermine the movement of Nvidia. Hey guys, morning everyone. So everyone's going to be watching Nvidia. Right now the trading volumes on the S&P 500 realistically are, what are they? They're 96,000, which is pretty weak, right? That's pretty low volume overall. Not necessarily something that I would like to see going into the morning session, so this morning could be a little sideways. Yesterday we had some decent moves, but overall we still remained in a tighter range here on the S&P 500 futures. We've been balancing in a pretty wide balance over the past like 2 weeks now. We've tried to get excess moves above and below, but nothing has really transpired. So today all eyes are on 46.48 on the S&P 500 futures, where the sellers might want to come in and take control. They already have. They're starting to push prices down. I don't necessarily want to see prices back in that area if I were to be a big seller. If I'm a seller, I don't want to see prices back into 48. I want to see prices down into that 28 and potentially even lower. The thing is, if we get above that 48 on the futures on the S&P here, we have this low volume area from Monday that we could easily just start breaking above and start moving to the upside. So I'm going to be very careful with that and watching how that kind of transpires, because we have a lot of positive delta that's getting built up into the high, which is telling us that there's a lot of trap traders into that high, and if they get unstuck, if the bid opens up, I think that we're going to have more of an expansion to the upside today. I just find it a little more difficult to believe that everyone's going to get super active going into the Nvidia earnings, so we'll see kind of more of a range is what I'm mainly expecting. For me, still, the bearish pivot where the sellers are going to take control on the S&P 500 futures is under 56.10. Until that happens, I have to be very weary about these guys and what they're doing on the sell side and how aggressive they are so they can actually move into an auction lower. So with that being said, let's open up our live room today, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow after the big explosions in Nvidia after the day ends. So that's going to be mainly what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. See how it affects the market, see how it affected the stock in itself, and some of the forward guidance. So we'll be back with that tomorrow, and I hope everyone has an amazing trading day, a great day, and wrapping up August on a good note. So I'll talk to you guys soon, and